Every so often we touch on some rare items in COD history here on the channel. We've talked even in this game about the rarest items like the 141 calling card, but now as we draw nearer to the end of the main year of support for Modern Warfare and a brand new title hanging on the horizon, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun and look back at this past year with Modern Warfare and Warzone and take a look at the rarest weapon blueprints, which, if you're like me and care about camos on weapons, are the things you probably care the most about when it comes to rarity and having something to show off. I mean, after all, those are the things you can show off in game and what you see all the time. So let's take a look at what's rare, what you may have, and some you may never have even known existed. As we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Do you have any of these blueprints we've discussed here in this video? Any that you wish you had? Whatever it is, let me know. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and of course Black Ops Cold War as we look to transition past this year of COD and into the one upcoming while on that road to 400,000 subscribers. Finally, a huge thank you and shout out to Ricky, Geist, Fancy, Steven, AJ, and Martin for the love and supporting the channel a little bit further by using code ESPRESSO in the Modern Warfare shop. If you end up using my code for any purchases, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out your generous support. But anyways, let's talk about rare blueprints. Firstly, I think it's important to set the record straight up front. Unless I'm missing any glaring one here, there's no real item that like the 141 calling card in this game or the COD XP camo in Black Ops 3 that are incredibly limited in quantity when it comes to blueprints. Instead, what makes these items rare are the limited time that they were available, mixed with some of the unlock measures that many may not have been able to complete. To my knowledge, none of what we discuss here today has been sold in the in-game store, as even though there are items that seem to disappear forever, those are on a rotation that there's that chance they could still come back. So you could today see a Season 1 blueprints show up in your shop. But what we discuss here today is either going away soon or already gone for good. Additionally, this will serve as an exploration video of some of the rarest blueprints, but not a ranking video since because of variables like time period available, prerequisites, and others, these were all made available to players at one point or another. It's just a matter of who capitalized on it. So quantifying the least amount of blueprints out there is near impossible. So with that in mind, let's take a look at some of the rare blueprints. And what I want to start with is some of my personal favorites of the Easter egg rewards within Warzone. And let's go all the way back to the beginning. The first Easter egg blueprint reward, the MP7 Mud Robber. This is available by completing the Bunker 11 Easter egg within Warzone, whether it be in BR, good luck with that, or in Plunder where it's much more common. To which, if you unravel the mystery of the phone sequence and then go and interact with them in the proper order, you can open up Bunker 11 behind the fire station just north of Arklov military base. When you open this up, the Mud Robber will be in one of the side rooms of that bunker, and it comes along with the monolithic suppressor, the 5mm laser, the no stock attachment, the 60-round magazine modification, and the Ranger foregrip. All in all, actually a decent build that you wouldn't really have to change around for both MP and Warzone all that much, but the blueprint itself looks pretty phenomenal if you ask me in terms of an all-black finish with some gold trim here and there. Fast forward a couple of months, and if you're an Easter egg hunter, you'll know that there was another Easter egg introduced within Stadium when it was finally opened up in Season 5. For this, you end up having the ability to get the Enigma CR56 blueprint, coming along with the XRK Zodiac S440 barrel, the APX-5 holographic sight, the FSS close quarters stock, the rubberized grip, and the Commando foregrip, again, donning a rather awesome design if you ask me, a more ornate looking variation of the CR56, and again, a build that isn't half bad. Would it be something that I would use in Warzone? I'd still probably put on an ammo modification, knocking out that custom magazine, but for MP, it's definitely something that's worthwhile. And finally, closing out Easter egg blueprints to talk about is that of the Bruin Firebrand, introduced just with this season actually, at the beginning of Season 6, where for activating the override sequence of the train system and then going to the maintenance station, you can end up getting a ton of different things, from Juggernaut armor to specialist bonus to, of course, the Firebrand Bruin blueprint, coming along with the Parabarrel, the integral hybrid optic, the no stock attachment, the rubberized grip tape, and the 60-round magazine. This is decent for your run and gun, again, probably more so suited for MP rather than Warzone, just based off the barrel and the no stock attachment, but with a contrasting orange and darker purple/black depending on what light you look at it, it looks pretty awesome if you ask me. Now, unlike the others we'll discuss here, at least for a little while, these can actually still be earned, so if you dare attempt an Easter egg in, say, BR, but more so likely in Plunder, go for it and grab some cool variants. Now, as for more timing specific ones, that's a big part of what makes things rare within this first year of Modern Warfare, their limited quantity or availability. To which the next topic I want to discuss is that of tournament rewards. Gunfight tournaments were something that were introduced here in a beta format within Modern Warfare that pitted you up against 15 other teams, and once you ended up going through the ringer and winning the tournament, you ended up getting some XP, some other smaller things, but more importantly, a blueprint. The first of which is that of the 50 GS Royal Decree, the actual first blueprint here that I think to this day is probably the most rare that we've seen here out of the blueprint rewards, because this was only around for a weekend at a time, if I'm not mistaken. The very first gunfight tournament that we had was very short, as opposed to others that have lasted a week, 2 weeks, sometimes even 3 weeks in duration. Coming along with the match grade trigger, the rubberized grip tape, and the Mo Money weapon perk, this was a rather simple blueprint, but one that looked, I thought, really awesome. Again, a little bit more of an ornate etching design on the actual barrel itself with a polished wood finish for the grip. Still, to this day, probably my favorite 50 GS blueprint. Another gunfight tournament reward is that of the AUG Gremlin, boasting the 407mm extended barrel, the tactical foregrip, the 5.56 NATO 30 round magazine, and a granulated grip tape. This one has a little bit more of a serpentine and scaly texture to it. Truth be told, this is one that, when looking at some of the rewards, I almost forgot existed, because it was, again, something so limited, but you don't see it very often, either because it's probably not the best looking blueprint, but also because not many have it. Another was the Veins of Gold Renetti, coming along with a Desperado Pro compensator, the Mark III Burst mod, the FTAC Sata CSX stock, the XRK Pro grip, and the lightweight trigger, coming along with a little bit of a oxidized metal look to the handle, plus a little bit of just some regular metal with trim on the barrel itself. A cool looking one was again rewarded for being the last team standing. Another blueprint reward is that of the M4A1 Grail Quest, coming along with the muzzle brake, the 5mm laser, the operator foregrip, and the rubberized grip tape. This one has almost that sort of dark Damascus 1911 feel to it, if you remember that blueprint, but a cool looking design, though you will lose out on quite a bit of it whenever you do start to modify the weapon itself. And finally, as the most recent gunfight tournament with, I believe it was last season, right before Season 5 finished up, was the Spoiled Rotten Bruin, coming along with a monolithic suppressor, the XRK Summit barrel, the tac laser, the holographic sight, and the 60 round magazine. Not only one was this thing an awesome looking blueprint, basically all whited out with some green texture to it, but this was essentially the meta Bruin blueprint at that point, which was kind of crazy. You could just throw this right into the action as is, and you were good to go. Okay, now going back and editing this could either just be the best or the worst timing possible, because whenever I finally decide to get ahead of schedule on things and get a video ready in advance, well, today actually the brand new gunfight tournament dropped, so we have another blueprint to add to this list here, that being the Holger 26 finish line, which comes along with the FTAC Spitfire barrel, the holographic sight, the stippled grip tape, and the 30 round magazine, with a camo similar to what we saw with some of the European police forces in the campaign, continuing on a little bit with that design approach. Now, jumping over to another segment of timed exclusives here, those being the contraband contract rewards. And since their introduction, we've seen 4 of these cycle in and out of the rotation here for what you can earn based off contraband contracts. For those unaware, contraband contracts you can end up getting from scavenger or recon contracts by completing and getting some rewards in Warzone for this, but it would sometimes drop a sort of airlift drop pack similar to what you'd see with the deposit balloons in Plunder, but with a different icon and a different color scheme with it. But all you had to do is activate this contract, go to the extraction zone that it would detail for you, stay there for about 15 to 20 seconds as the animation went on, and then you completed it and you got the blueprint. The first of which was that of the AX50 Lonely Lagoon. This one, in terms of camo, I thought was honestly one of the coolest ones we saw at the time, and if it were animated, it would, I think, look exactly like the original Dark Matter from the Black Ops series. Coming along with a 17-inch factory barrel, the tac laser with variable zoom scope, the Singard Arms Marksman stock, and the 9-round magazine modification, it's an okay blueprint in terms of attachment build. Definitely would change out some of this stuff, but again, entirely up to you, but overall the camo itself looked pretty awesome. Another one shortly after that was introduced was the EBR-14 Carbonite, a sort of metallic bronze finish on a sort of carbon fiber body, coming along with a compensator, the Forged Tac Precision barrel, the Canted Hybrid optic, the FTAC lightweight stock, and the 20-round magazine. Now, the EBR is a weapon that I didn't use all that much, so admittedly, I didn't really go for this one when I saw it pop up, but overall, still one that is relatively quite rare. Another one that was live up until just only recently was that of the Fluid Dynamics Car 98K. This coming along with the Tac Laser, the Cronin LP45 Mini Reflex, the F-Tac Sport Stock, and the stippled grip tape. This one had a sort of hex design with some yellow and greenish tint to the Dynamics branding that we've seen a couple of times here in other blueprints. And finally, as of most recently introduced within update 1.28 and in relation to the Haunting of Verdansk event, is the Striker 45 Bat Outta Hell. This coming along with the 150mm stainless steel barrel, the RK Gen 3 stock, and the Merc foregrip here for this, coming again with a Halloween looking design on it. Pretty cool if you ask me, but rounding out the Contraband Contract blueprints that we've seen, and again, those, if you didn't capitalize on them when they were around, well, you can't get them anymore. Continuing some timed exclusives here, these ones you may very well have, but if anybody picked up the game from launch of the game to, well, now you wouldn't be able to. These being some OG weapons. Firstly, the Hammer 725. This one coming along with a lightweight suppressor, the sawed-off barrel, the PBX hollow sight, the sawed-off stock, and the Commando foregrip was something that was a reward for playing in the Modern Warfare beta. So even if you bought the game at launch, you still may not have this one, but it is something that, while sticking to that more so realistic camo approach that we saw at the beginning of the game, may not be the most visually appealing to you. It may have some rarity compared to what others have in their armory. Another one that many may have, but if again you came late to the game at all, you wouldn't have it, is the XRK M4. This coming along with the Predator barrel, the Tac Laser, the Integral Hybrid, the M16 stock, and the Commando foregrip. This had a more so bronze camo and texture pattern to it, this being a pre-order and special edition bonus here for the game, and it was actually our first introduction to how blueprints would alter the weapon iron sights throughout the year, offering up right out of the gate new iron sights of the M4. And then finally, in terms of some OG blueprints, what better one than the actual OG M4, this one replicating the M16 with the stock M16 Grenadier barrel, the M16 stock, the burst weapon perk, the 50-round mag modification, and the grenade launcher under barrel, coming along most notably with the M16 carry handle, altering the iron sights on the M4 a little further. This was the Season 0 max rank reward for hitting 155. So again, if you came late at all and you didn't hit that max rank, you weren't able to get this. The final time-based rarity items that I want to talk about come in the way of actually free gift packs, things that you didn't have to do except simply log on and redeem a pack that was given to you within the in-game store. Firstly, that coming along with the Flood MP5. This being equipped with the FSS Mini Barrel, the Forge Tac Ultralight Stock, the Sleight of Hand perk, the 45-round magazine, and the Operator foregrip. This was a pretty cool black and red blueprint here for the MP5. Now, admittedly, I'd change out a couple of those items, but it was still, for the most part, as a free blueprint, something, again, you had to do absolutely nothing for. It was pretty cool to see. This was, if I'm not mistaken, given around the time of the holidays last year as a sort of thank you for playing, but it wouldn't be the last time that we saw these free bundles given out. In fact, not too long after that, we saw another blueprint, the Demon Eyes Origin 12, being given out as well, in which that came along simply with the Operator Reflex sight. This perhaps being one of the first breakaways into a zanier camo that we had, especially on the free end where you didn't have to pay for it. But this was, again, something that I thought looked pretty cool, but once you started to modify it, you lost a little bit of that camo and that design. Though, truth be told, it was probably the closest thing to a base weapon that had a really cool camo that we'd ever get, because it was only the optic that came along with it. Then finally, out of the ones that if you missed it, you missed it, the Snowy Crag MK2. This coming along with the Tac Laser, the APX-5 holographic sight, and the Mark II precision stock. This was basically all whited out, but paint chipped off type of feel to it, so something that would be a more so Arctic camouflage as opposed to anything else, but a cool one no less that, again, was around for a little bit of time for just simply redeeming a pack that was given to you. One that should be going out here within the next week or so, if it hasn't gone out already, is actually the Bloody Mess Melee, which is part of the Halloween free gift packs that are labeled in the game files and seen on COD Tracker, so keep an eye out for that one because you may be able to score a relatively rare melee blueprint just for simply, again, logging on here. As for the rest of what we'll see here in this Rarest Blueprints video, two of these I want to talk talk about come down to missions, and these two simply just being tedious ones in relation to co-op or spec ops. And I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't really played Spec Ops all that much, but if you were to, Season 5 and Season 6 both introduced actually some pretty cool looking blueprints here, if you ask me. The first of which is the More Killing, More Doing PP Bison. This coming along with the Muzzle Brake, the GI Mini Reflex, and the Close Quarter Stock. This overall has an awesome looking camo design. It's vibrant, it's not too over the top, and it's something that does look sort of plausible as a model weapon. I'm all for this design here at this, and it is something you may have picked up within Warzone because it has been ground loot, but a really cool one if you ask me, no less. And then as of the Season 6 introduction here a couple of weeks back, we saw that in Spec Ops, we saw a reward being the Grizzled AK-47, coming along with a monolithic suppressor, a golden tint on that one, the 8.1-inch compact barrel, the no stock option, the stippled grip tape, and the 545 30-round magazine. This more so probably being something you'd want to rush with in MP. I wouldn't say recommend this being a weapon that you use just as is in, say, Warzone, because it's not really built for medium or long range engagements, but still a really cool looking blueprint if you ask me, and one that, again, because people probably don't play a ton of Spec Ops, not many may have. The final weapons that we'll close out this video with is a couple of blueprints that are rare simply because, well, for 2/3 of the platforms that the game is available on, it is unavailable. These being PlayStation 4 exclusives in the mission category. Firstly, that of the HDR Tide Pool, the Muzzle Brake, the Variable Zoom Scope, the FTAC Champion, and the 7-round magazine. These, as well as the others we'll talk about here, come along with the signature PlayStation Blue metallic tint to it. But other than that, are pretty straightforward weapon blueprints. The HDR, though, not looking half bad if you ask me. Then we have the Grand Rapids, which comes along with the Predator barrel, the Integral Hybrid, the no stock option, and the Ranger foregrip, making this a sort of compact M4. Though it's not as compact as, say, an SMG build of it with the 9mm rounds, this is just a very small build here of the weapon, better suited for a little bit more punch close quarters. We also have the Cold Rift Uzi, which comes along with the 8.5 factory barrel, the 5mW laser, the Forge Tac Ultra Light, the frangible disabling, and the 45-round stick mag, with again that blue tint and the black carbon fiber feel wrapping it. And finally, the first and original blueprint that was PlayStation 4 exclusive was the Scar Jack Frosty with the Forge Tac CQB Pro barrel, the operator reflex sight, the FTAC collapsible stock, and sleight of hand as a weapon perk. These, honestly though, while they're all uniform in design, I do think look really cool. The only problem again is that they're PlayStation 4 exclusive, so not many people will have them even if you decide to go for them. But that is going to wrap up the rarest blueprints here within Modern Warfare. Again, a lot of these are really just dependent on if you took advantage of them in the moment while they were available. Some still available, but you may not have gone after because they have some long quest lines like the Easter egg ones, or a lot of grinding to do like the Spec Ops ones, but rare blueprints no less here within Modern Warfare. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section down below. How many of these did you have? How many did you think that I missed that you'd put on this list? Whatever it is, let me know. But hopefully enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and of course, Black Ops Cold War as we round towards the launch here in the middle of next month. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.